a lot of girls would be like, oh, where'd you get the shirt? Where'd you get the pants? And I'm like, this is just any men's joggers size extra large. And I was just thinking, everybody asking me all the time, where? I said, let me get my own. I only make clothes that I wear myself. And since it is kind of, for the most part, unisex, that's just how I did it. I figured I'll just put it out there. I'll do small amounts, and if people like it, then they can, grab some as well. I didn't ever expect it like to make me rich or anything like that. I started this because that's the passion, that's the love, and I just wanted to do it because I just wanted to. It is essential for women to know how to take care of themselves. And so my thing became with Lash Makers is to teach women financial independence through beauty industry. And in the same mix, I always try to convince women to stay soft. What is it that successful people have that makes them successful and keeps them going that regular people don't have? And it's actually the opposite. What is it that successful people don't have? And that is a switch off button. We don't have that. But that's how you function. You function the best in chaos, because this is where you find the peace. There's so much that I got to do in terms of helping people and just good things in my life that this business allowed me to do. So that's why I say, you know what? There is no wins without sacrifices.
Elena,
how's it going?
A former neighbor, apparently.
Yes.
So let's just
about 12 years
let's just
ago.
start that with there, because that kind of blew me away.
Yeah. So about 12 years ago, 13 maybe. We used to be neighbors. We used to live in the same building, and it's so cool to see that transition from back then. You're a regular guy. And you had the 2 dogs. You would load them in your truck. It was just normal guy. And then to see you going from that to the gym, the wife, the kids, now this monster that you're building is incredible.
Yeah.
It's so incredible. I'm super proud of you.
Oh, thank you. And it's cool to hear, like, when you don't know people are watching, but they're watching kind of thing. So that's
absolutely.
It's very it's encouraging, and it's humbling also to hear. And but there definitely wasn't anything normal about me back then. So that's why I ended up where I am today. Yeah, no, exactly. Right, but there was a very, very, and still to this day, determined individual, you know what I mean? That never, like, refused to quit, refused to, like, not find solutions and, to overcome everything. So yeah, but
It's very impressive.
so let's tell everybody who you are first and foremost. You were born in Siberia.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. You grew up in Israel. North Pole. Where is Siberia?
It's Russia.
Oh, it is Russia.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you grew up in Israel.
Yes.
For 13 years. Or
7.
At 13. Oh, at 13
Yeah.
years old. All right. So 7 years in Israel.
Yeah.
Then you moved here to Miami?
I moved to Sweden, actually.
Okay.
I went to Europe, and I hated it. And I lasted about 4 months or so. It was dark and cold and depressing.
Really?
And I went to New York.
Okay.
It was right before Christmas, and I went to New York.
It was cold again.
Yes, but it was so cool because I've never been to the States before, and I was about to just go back to Israel anyways. And I said, you know what? Let me go for a little bit and just make a little trip out of it.
Yeah.
And I just fell in love. I fell in love. In my opinion, there's no country like the United States. And I am die-hard patriot, and I feel American more than anything because I lived in so many different countries and moved around. And that's how the romance with America started, and here I am.
Did you live in New York?
I ended up staying about a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where'd you stay in New York?
White Plains, New York.
White Plains.
Yeah.
Okay.
Westchester.
Oh, Westchester. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
It's
So
crazy.
it's a lot different now. Westchester.
is. Oh.
They've actually developed it, and it's
We're
like
talking
super nice.
17 years
Yeah, exactly.
ago.
I mean, Westchester was a little sketchy back then, a little bit.
You know, I wouldn't
So,
know.
yeah.
I was just, as by this day, I just do my own thing. I just
Yeah.
go to work and I go to the gym and I
Right,
live my
right.
little life. You know, I don't get in trouble. So I am a little boring.
Yeah.
So I'm never really out there, you know.
But New York is definitely a
trust
place.
your word.
Yes. But New York is definitely a place, like when you set foot in New York, there's just this energy that you get from New York. It's,
Everyone is on the go.
It's a real special place.
Yes.
So I hope they get their shit together.
I
Because
know.
they're ruining New
New
York
York
right
was
now.
a place to be.
Yep.
And so is LA
Yeah.
back then.
No, I mean, it's so sad to see what's happening in LA and New York because
Truly.
two of my favorite places, but not now. Like now it's like, ugh.
Yeah.
So,
It's unfortunate.
when did you end up in Miami?
So 13 years ago, I had opportunity to do a little business, just managing a store, a new beauty store opening here in Lincoln Road, and that's how I got here. It wasn't actually Miami. It was first Fort Lauderdale, and
Okay.
it was Boca, and then it was South Beach. So that's how I got here, and it was cultural shock. I've never seen a place like this in my entire life. And I said, this is where I'm going to stay.
So you came here 13 years ago?
To Miami area.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I came here 23 years ago. So yeah, it's
From?
interesting. From Alabama.
From Alabama.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. I had a buddy of mine that was modeling down here, and he said they were casting for Bad Boys 2, I believe it was. And so I was like, sign me up. And
That is so
And then I-
random.
packed my car, drove down to Miami, and then I'll never forget, same way you felt. Like I was like, this is just different. And then it just overwhelming feeling, and I was like, I'm never going home.
Yes.
And I haven't gone home since. So.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
There's
I love
no
this city.
place like-
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it too. Yeah, but that is a big change for you too.
Oh
It's
yeah,
crazy.
coming from Alabama, I mean, you're fresh off. You move differently, but I will say this though, coming from Alabama, that's why I felt so like I love New York so much, because I had traveled to New York from Alabama for like modeling stuff, and the hustle that I had, like the hard work that I had in Alabama, kind of matched what the hard work of New Yorkers. And then when I came here, having that hard work, I noticed here a lot of people had like the more laid back kind of island kind of approach. So if you were a really hard worker, you immediately like set yourself apart from everybody else. So you were able to kind of build on stuff, I believe, because you weren't from Miami and you weren't in that like kind of laid back attitude. Like you wanted to prove yourself and work harder and show people. So
Yeah, in Miami, isn't it like kind of easy to just start relaxing all of a sudden and
well, you
fall
can
into
get
the
caught up
party
into the lifestyle
Yes.
and again, that's, I guess, lifestyle in Miami is also dependent on kind of age and your tribe and who you're hanging with, because it's definitely evolved for me, obviously. But yeah, it can definitely, I tell people it can eat you up and spit you out, or
Absolutely.
you can find the right lane, because there are a lot of good things about Miami. So I think if you can stay out of the bad and find the good,
Absolutely.
then you'll flourish
There's
for
a
sure.
mix.
There is a mix, definitely.
It's big time.
Definitely. Like I'm actually building a new headquarters right now.
And so I've heard.
And one of my, purposes of that is that I feel like the one thing that I personally feel like, and I might be wrong. I mean, I hope if anybody's listening and they can tell me I'm wrong and help me out. But for me, I feel like Miami's missing that like 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. things to do. Like if you've ever been to the best restaurants on Miami and you get the reservation for like 7, you show up and there's nobody there.
Nobody.
And so it kind of like, even though the food's great and the environment's great, it's not the same thing as going to the fancy restaurant at 10 p.m. when it's packed and
Yes.
it's lit.
Everything is a little later here.
It's like a little later here.
Yeah.
So I wanted to kind of try to create a place that you can kind of start at and so you're not out so late. So we're going to activate the space like in the evenings, also on the weekends, and like do some, live music and comedy night and like stuff like that. And a very, not large, but like intimate groups of like 50, 60, private, something like that. So,
that is so cool.
That's kind of something
because
I've always wanted to do.
It's like a gym.
It is a gym.
And,
so it's a headquarters. So it's my beverage headquarters for all my staff, my gym headquarters for all my staff. It's a gym. It's a spa. It has sauna, cold plunges. It has a physical therapy center. It has a barbershop. It has a massage shop. It has a co-working space.
You don't have to leave.
Yeah, exactly.
You just
That's
stay.
kind of the point, is I want everybody just to stay there and keep spending money.
Awesome.
So that's the idea. So yeah. But
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. Well, I want to get into more of you. So, all right. So founder of Lash Makers, founder of the clothing brand, and how do I say, BAGA? Is that
BAGA.
BAGA? That's cool. What does it stand for, anything?
It's actually old Iranian word for God, but
Okay.
it's not used anymore.
Ah, that's kind of cool.
I know, right?
So you like took something that's not being used and used it for you.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
When did you think about that?
I was just searching different meanings and words, and I always like when it means something.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I came up with Lash Makers as well. The industry was very young, so I wanted something that will stand out for a long time. And that's how I really put the time into thinking about the names and stuff. It needs to connect well.
Did you have like multiple names you thought you were gonna do, and then that one just like when you wrote it down, you knew it?
It's so funny because specifically for BAGA, that was like one of the first that popped up. It was very interesting, and I was like, this is perfect.
Yeah.
And I always liked the sound, like the Balenciaga, like all this, the pronunciation. I don't know. I just saw the word. I was like, wait, what is this? And I started researching a little bit more, and I was like, oh my gosh, can I use it? And it was awesome. I think it's beautiful, and I just kept it.
I love it. This is a love letter to contemporary streetwear. I love that.
Yes, because the reason I did it too is because I always liked oversized clothes. I always did. And so many times, most of the times, I used to wear men's clothing, matter of fact, and I would buy them size large, and anything, pants or shirt, it still would be large. So I really like that fit. It's interesting fact, I used to be brand ambassador for Boohoo Men for a year, but I was pushing their men's clothes for women. So I wasn't allowed to choose from women's clothes at all.
Yeah.
So I was posting them for them like 4 times a month, and it had to be only men's clothing. That's how they found me. And so it was so interesting because I would post a picture or something, and a lot of girls would be like, oh, where'd you get this shirt? Where'd you get the pants? And I'm like, this is just any men's joggers, size extra large or whatever. And that's how kind of I started. And I was just thinking, everybody asking me all the time, where? I said, let me get my own. And another thing about this was I like the heavy fabrics. I like the heavy joggers, good cotton, thick. And it's those things, when I used to look to buy them. Good brands, joggers we're talking about $600, good brand when it's heavy, when it's thick. And so I wanted to make something that I wear. I only make clothes that I wear myself, and since it is kind of for the most part unisex, that's just how I did it. I figured I'll just put it out there. I'll do small amounts, and if people like it, then they can grab some as well. And so that's how I did it. But I didn't want I wanted $600 joggers without the price.
Right.
And so that's how I did it. So everything is really big. So.
That's actually in style now too. If you notice the younger kids are wearing like really baggy pants now.
Back.
Like it's the rave
90s.
pant style is coming back. So
it's definitely
interesting.
coming back, yeah.
And I love the drape look. Yeah. And like it's like, especially when what I feel like what it does is that when women they have amazing bodies, but they drape instead of, and I might be saying this wrong, but like instead of tight, like wearing something tight showing off their body, if they drape it, men, we can still see you have a nice body, but it's like, it's a curiosity of like,
yes,
you know what I mean?
totally.
It creates curiosity, which I think is sexy, rather than just showing it off, you know.
It's definitely a taste, and I do think it's really is a skill to know how to dress for different occasions. And of course, even if I mostly wear oversized, of course, some of the days, and especially when you go out, you do wear something tighter and stuff like that.
Right.
But totally, I'm with you on this one. And when it comes to men, I just feel like even if they, again, going back to people that in shape and work out, I feel like you get a jacked guy and you put a big shirt on him, now they look enormous, you know what I'm saying? So they're just extra big.
Yeah.
So I like that too. So it's for men and women. It's a taste. Definitely it's a taste. But I'm here for people that agree with the taste.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. How is it going? Like, is that something that it's in a good place? Is it something that you feel like you want to expand? Are you happy with where you are? Like, where is it in its life cycle of? And when did you start it?
I started about a year and a half ago.
Okay, so where are you right now with it? Like,
I'm still developing. I'm still adding more items little by little. It's not my main business, and so it does need time of its own as well. So I kind of go and take it easy because I started this. I didn't ever expect it like to make me rich or anything like that. I started this because that's the passion, that's the love, and I just wanted to do it because I just wanted to. So right now I take it easy and little by little and see what happens. My main business is always going to be the lash brand that I have. So this is where all the time goes pretty much, and resources.
and is the lash business, when did you start that?
13 years ago.
13 years ago.
Yes,
Amazing.
I got to Miami, and it's so funny. It barely existed back then, but
now it's like women. My wife can't go. I mean, if she misses her lash appointment, I don't even want to come home.
Because it's right in center of your face. It's gonna. You have to. You have to keep it up.
It is. She's like a different woman when she has her lashes. Like,
and isn't it a beautiful thing though? I don't think people understand. Like, I have women, and all these years, people women come for appointments, and you hear things like, I just want to get my lashes done. I'm gonna take a nap. Oh, this is so relaxing. Oh, I really need this. We have women come and they say no lashes at all, for example, and they say, I just want to do my set. I want to feel normal. And it's like, this is
wow.
So it's such a small detail that makes you feel so much more beautiful and confident, and it makes your day easier because there's not much time to put for makeup and all that stuff in the morning. So I think it's brilliant. When I got it done the first time, that's how I got obsessed with it. I just looked at myself and I said, who wouldn't want this? And I started doing lashes myself, like as service, and I worked for 5 years out of my living room in Star Lofts.
Okay.
And it's very interesting how everything turned. And little by little, people started asking me to teach them how to do it, and I will take a student or two in my house, and little by little. And then the products were awful back then because the industry wasn't developed. So and little by little I was doing the products too because the glue was awful and the lashes were awful and everything was bad. So we used to buy glue directly from China and Korea through eBay because there's nothing else.
Yeah.
And you would get a bottle and the label is in Korean. You don't know what's in it.
Oh God.
It smells like gasoline. I'm doing your lashes. You and I both high. It's a disaster. And so that's how I got into manufacturing business as well. And now we have full line, 118 products that I cater to lash artists. And we ship to 57 countries. So we ship worldwide, basically. And
that is tremendous.
it's crazy. It blew up. It definitely blew up. I didn't expect, but...
And the name of the products is also...
Lash Makers.
Lash Makers. And is it on Amazon?
No,
Okay.
I don't do Amazon.
TikTok shop?
You know what?
I got to put you on game now.
Trigger right there. TikTok shop. I'm 37 years old.
So?
Brother, listen.
So
No. It
you're
took
still
me
young.
It took me a little bit,
You're
know.
still young.
I know, I am, but some things, it's like the TikTok for me. First of all, I never had Snapchat. TikTok in my
Oh, I
head
never had
for
Snapchat.
for a long time was like for 16-year-old girls to sing and
Dance, right, exactly.
And so I want to say like this year or so, quite a few people that involved like in my marketing and stuff like that, they're like really pushing on me to do, the TikTok stuff, and I am doing it.
Good.
I am doing it.
And you need a TikTok shop.
Yes, we're setting it up
because
right
the
now.
margins are incredible.
So this is all getting set up right now,
All right, good.
finally. But you just said it like you knew what I'm doing. It's so crazy. It took me forever.
So right now, are you well, we call it DSD. Like, so you're handling your own distribution right now? Like you're,
yeah.
Okay.
I do everything myself.
So you ship everything?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's a lot.
Our studio is in Miami Springs.
Okay.
And I have people, of course, helping me
Right.
to operate, but the control over anything that is important, if you will, is all me.
Yeah.
So I do all the social media, I do manufacturing, so definitely everything on me. And I don't know if some people will agree. Of course, it depends on the size of the business, but I feel like that's why it's still good on this level, because I take care of it myself.
Well, nobody's going to take care of it like you.
Yeah, but
Nobody.
again, if like some people, business like yours, this size is impossible, obviously, but you're still going to be the one taking care of the most important things.
And you have to, so when you get like where I am today, and you will be soon, is that you have to maintain the vision
Absolutely.
of where you're going, and make sure that every single person underneath you knows that vision clearly.
Absolutely.
And that they're all doing things that's helping you ultimately see the vision come to life. And so it's a constant, like I tell people all the time, like all I do all day long is remind people. I'm a reminder. Like a lot of times I read a book that said a CEO is not a CEO, it's a CRO, a Chief Reminding Officer. And so basically you're reminding everybody of what they're supposed to do, why they're supposed to do it, how they're supposed to do it, the reason behind it. Like that's really even more important, is like telling them like why they're doing what they're doing.
Absolutely.
Like what is your why? Like, and kind of making sure that it's wrapped in. That leads me to, your quote is amazing, by the way. Okay, your business motto. I don't even know. Do you know how to, do you want to say your business motto?
No, you tell me.
All
Which
right.
one are you looking at?
This
Let's
is
see. I
really
say a
good.
lot of things.
This is money. This is a gem. This is a mic drop. We'll do it again at the end. But go into business with discipline and love. Discipline will keep you learning and growing. Love will make you work with purpose. I just absolutely love that. Because like for me, like my motto is no days off is never taking a day off on you. It's a commitment to becoming your best self. So it's very similar. And I think because no days off basically is that discipline. It's that discipline to show up for yourself every single day, regardless of how you feel.
Absolutely.
Because you're not going to feel good every single day. That's just a fact. And
that's number one thing.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because it's like you hear a lot of people repeating it, be disciplined, the mindset and discipline. But it really is so much deeper than that, because how you do anything is how you do everything. And so if you have that, and I actually heard you talking about this in another episode, and I was like, oh my God, so much yes. Is when you are like this, and this is with different traits too, you're bringing it everywhere. That's how you are in your business. That's how you are in your relationship. That's how you are with your team. Mm-hmm. So you bringing that quality everywhere, and it's just how you function. And so when people, for example, when people ask sometimes, do you think a person born with such traits like a leadership and the ability to be disciplined and dedicated and stuff like that, or you can teach them honestly? And people don't like it sometimes, the answer, because I honestly believe that you, for the most part, you're born this way. You can't teach discipline. You can teach discipline in a very small age, I feel like. Like if you have a child, you have children, so you know this. And so I feel like the first few years, you can do things to influence that, but it is the character of the person. And sometimes it takes something to wake that up, usually something devastating and bad happening, as we see some people's lives. But for the most part, you're looking at children, you already can tell, maybe like age 7, 8, around there, even younger, and you see the traits, and you see this is going to be a president of the United States, probably, so a lawyer. Yeah. So I do feel like it's so massive to have that trait, and it's the most important in life, I think.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I was certainly blessed with my dad instilling discipline in us at a very young age. I mean, really young age. And it carries over, and I was talking about this in one of the podcasts, is that, like, as parents, our job is to show discipline, to show our kids the way, not tell our kids the way, so that they learn from us and see us, getting up early, planning, cleaning, these little things that are big things in the end. All right, you started your Lash Makers business in your living room, which you just spoke on. Now you've become one of the most well-known educators in this sector of the beauty industry with your own product lines, seminar. Oh, you do seminars too. I love it.
I do many, many things.
And graduate technicians. Can you talk about your journey? So I guess just go a little bit, because it's a 13-year journey. So for me, what interests me is like the moments where you had to pivot, the moments where you had a setback, the moments where maybe you brought on the wrong team. Just like, tell us a little bit about the struggle. Maybe it wasn't a struggle, but just tell us about the kind of the things that you've been through that have put you in the position that you are today. Because first of all, having a business for 13 years is massively successful. Most businesses fail within the first year and a half. So anything over 2 years is like impressive. So 13 years is massively impressive. But I know it wasn't easy. And I know for a fact that there had to been stuff that was like, you had to overcome. So talk a little bit about that.
That's a great question. Actually, I love it. So first of all, what you just said, I know it wasn't easy. To start there, having a business is hard. Making money is hard. And so people think sometimes you're going to go into entrepreneurship and this is going to be the freedom. It's actually the opposite, probably. But in terms of like the time, and because you really just stop having free time. But it is hard, 100%. However, in just speaking of the journey and how it kept on rolling, it's interesting because I get these questions all the time. Matter of fact, people ask, so when did this happen for you? When you became whatever you became, right? and I always say, it's as you start day one, it's like every single thing that got better in the business. So for example, as a lash artist, when I got my first client, that for me was a start of success. I say, okay, I'm a business owner now. Then I had full books. Now this is a success. Then I got my first student. This is a success. It's like, I feel like when you do something that you love and you're looking at it as my priority, I'm not going to count how much money I make every single day. People say, how much money you want to make this year? I'm like, I don't know. It's like, it's not about that. And so when you do it because your only goal, literally, the only thing that you want is to be as good as possible in what you do. So as a lash artist, I really was obsessed with the idea to be the best lash artist in the world. Like, I wanted to have the best work in the world. And, you function out of that place. And so, as I mentioned before, that's how I look at it, functioning out of love. I never was functioning out of fear to go broke, or out of fear, maybe it's not going to succeed. It's not going to be any good. I function out of love for what I do. And so all these stages, the lash artist, and then starting the academy, and then going into merchandise, and then, the speaking, and all of these bigger things, it was just so natural, to be honest. Now, the question about was it hard or was it easy? Honestly, I don't really think about this way. You know, I don't wake up in the morning and I think to myself, what is it so hard today about my business? Why should I maybe be cautious, or maybe I should back off a little bit, because it's like that's not how you think.
That's never crossed my mind.
So
yeah.
exactly, it
Right.
doesn't cross your mind, and so you don't think about those things. You don't think about motivation. Oh, what motivates me today to pour back into my own business? It's like I don't think this way, and so there's another part to it when that I absolutely love to talk about. People say, "Oh, you're so strong, and you're so strong because the business or whatever, and the timing." Like you said, 13 years is a long time, and I don't consider myself strong at all. I don't think no woman is strong or should be strong or should even try. But I have different opinion on this. But what I do say about myself, that I am resilient, and that's what helps me in the business. And so when the tougher times come, challenging, if you will, I look at it as I just need to cross this one. Like I just need to push through this one right here, come out on another side, and we'll pick it up from there. And so that's resilience, I don't like in general, because, and I bring it up because I am in business that is women for the most part. And I have a lot of opinions on that part. I don't like when people refer to women as strong at all. I am hardcore feminist, but original, the proper feminist. I have traditional values, but I also think, because how the times changed, I also think that it is essential for women to know how to take care of themselves, just because you might have to. It's always lovely to have a man, a husband or boyfriend that's taking care of you and that is masculine, and he's a provider, and what we see what ideal man is. And unfortunately, that's not going to be the case many times. Some women never get a man like that. And so my thing became with Lash Makers, unintentionally actually, is to teach women financial independence through beauty industry. And in the same mix, I always try to convince women to stay soft. You can be a business owner, but I am so against the whole culture of boss bae and stuff like that. I hate when people call me boss. I hate all these things. And
they'll tell you the same thing. So.
And it's just, I believe that women can make money, and most of more than that even, is something that fulfills you too. You find something that you love doing, something to wake up to every day, and it's the whole mix of that, and you take care of yourself financially, if you need to, and it's a beautiful thing. But I do also teach this ideology to women that getting into this business, that you do all of these things, but you gotta stay soft. You gotta preserve that feminine side of yours. And this is, I think, that combination, I think, is what brought me here, and I'm still standing, because if you just find a balance as a woman in any business, you go and you build something, and people look at you different, men look at you different, and it becomes very interesting dynamics. And so I really believe that once you find that balance, you found something that you love doing. Now you got purpose in life. Now you can use that to create financial freedom. And then you understand what has to come with it in terms of how you're going to maintain your behavior and your views and what your values are, because the values change for a lot of people. Women, I can talk about this for hours, because I know a lot of women, unfortunately, that once they make money and they buy a couple of cars and a couple of houses, and now they believe they don't need a man. And I don't need kids. And this is right here is what I'm always trying to keep them away. The newbies, the new girls that get into the industry. And so that's the mix that I'm trying to pass on. And that's how what I live by. And I really, really believe this is the mix that keeps me sane and keeps me going.
And you have a son.
I do.
And so he's 8?
He is 8 years old, and he's a loyal member of your gym as well. Funny enough.
And wait, who's his brother?
So his brother is... All right,
because I got to put this
Isaiah Trellis.
Okay, all right.
He is a teenager, and he's a superstar.
No, Isaiah's
he's going
amazing.
To be...
Of course.
He is a basketball superstar, and he's going to be so big. I just know it.
Yeah.
And his father is Frank Trellis, which is Elijah's...
Shout out, Frank.
Yeah, which is Elijah's father. Incredible man. And that's how my son ended up in your gym, because Frank is a loyal member of your facility.
It's so funny. I had no idea he was your son. He's adorable, and he's a little
flexing
and showing me his abs and like showing me how much he can lift. Never has a shirt on. Yeah,
never.
I love it.
He's
got a great personality.
Thank you.
Yeah.
He's a little G. I definitely try to. In Frank too, we both really, really try to raise our kids with traditional values, and it's really beautiful to see in children. But it's so good. It's good feeling to see that your kids are actually good kids, you know.
Yeah.
And not because he's mine, but he really is so adorable, and he's a little old man. He's incredible. The conversations that they have with you sometimes is just hysterical. But he's like a little old man. He's into lottery tickets and pickles. It's just hysterical.
Oh my
He likes
gosh.
anything vintage. Like
really?
He will tell you by dates, like when Popeyes came out, first Pokemon card. Like, it's just hysterical. They're so smart. They're so much smarter than us.
That's funny. And how has it been with that dynamic? You know, having a son and having a business. And I mean, that's kind of where you were going with that. But go a little bit deeper with that. Because a lot of people think, to your point earlier, is that it has to be one or the other, you know, or if it is choosing a business, then you have to be the boss and be like the, you know, independent woman and all that, and you can't. So
it's a tricky one for sure. It's a tricky one because what you just said can be maybe one or another. That's the biggest privilege of life. So if in ideal world, in a perfect world, if there is, let's say, a husband and wife, and the husband goes and he does the business part and the money part and taking care of the family, staying home with your children is the biggest gift from life. That's out of question. And taking care of your home by yourself. I get emotional talking about this. It's so crazy. Sorry.
No, gather yourself. I'll tell you that, and the gentleman that was just doing the podcast, he was my last guest. He was my chiropractor, and when he started talking about his wife, about raising the kids, and he got very emotional, and then I got emotional because I was explaining to him, when I look at my wife being a mom, that's when I'm the most attracted to her.
Yes.
You know, it's like when you see your wife being just an unconditional love to your kid, and protect her, and, you know, especially when they're like little babies, and, you know, we can't do anything. We don't have nipples, so, you know, we're worthless during that stage. So getting up throughout the night and breastfeeding and changing the diapers, and not that I don't help a little bit, but, you know, but I helped a lot more with 7 because it was the pandemic. But with Sage, it's been just watching her.
Mm-hmm. It's the most beautiful thing.
And it's just beautiful, you know, cooking and cleaning, and there's this ridiculous narrative out there now that's like, you know, like that's not okay. Like, of course it's okay.
It's,
Like, it's wild.
the problem with that is that times changed a lot, and it's for the bad and the good, obviously. But as we do watch the dynamics of relationships, you do see that sometimes, unfortunately, things just don't work out. It just don't. You know, people change. Even if you start a relationship and you're on the same page and you have the same values and you want the same things, unfortunately, that's the nature of humans. Sometimes your values change, your opinions change, things you like change. All of these crazy changes happening that you have no control of. And of course, this is also debatable. You know how long you can make it work, and keep what you have. There's many factors to it, right? So that's a different conversation. But unfortunately, we do see a lot of, you know, the numbers of divorces is just extremely high.
Yeah, skyrocketing.
And
I think the average marriage now is like 3.5 years or something.
It is
it's
very
really low.
unfortunate.
I'm not sure
Yeah,
the data on that.
and so
Gonna fact check me right there.
Yeah, it's, you know, but bottom line is a lot.
Yeah.
And so dynamics definitely changed, and I feel like we in such a funky times, you know, between the social media and all this stuff and everything. People have this false sense of options. You know what I'm saying? And so everybody feel like everyone is replaceable. So it's a little complicated. There's a lot of factors to it, but unfortunately, sometimes there is a chance that this perfect idea of what, you know, the woman and man could be, it doesn't work out. And so that's why I believe that the woman should have something of her own, because sometimes, unfortunately, you could go and take that role. I could be, you know, somebody's wife and have 3 children, and the man one day gonna find somebody else and leave me with those 3. Or sometimes they don't even take care of the children. And so this is what my fear is. I was always so scared to not be able to take care of myself or my children. And so a lot of things that I do in life come from that. There's a lot of weird things that I tell people that they're a little bit surprised that I say that, because of the dynamics of how human relationships are sometimes, unfortunately, especially when it involves children. And so me personally, I knew that I'm going to have a child closer to 30, because I wanted to make sure that I have money of my own, that if something happened, God forbid something happens, you know, my husband passes away, I don't know, goes missing, I don't know what's gonna happen, leaving me. My biggest fear is, how am I gonna take care of my baby? So I wanted to make sure that if I have no one and I have a child, that child lacks and missing nothing. And that is the mama bear, you know, trait that I have in me, because I am a mother to like a lot of people.
Okay.
I take care of a lot of people, and it's one of those things.
How many girls do you have under you, or girls and guys? I'm assuming. So like, are they like, they work for you, right?
Well,
like,
right
do you have
now,
like a little empire? Like, is that how it works, or how does it work?
I work with a lot of people, like more of a little bit like remotely more, because I have a lot of ambassadors and brand partners and stuff like that, but more close in a location. I actually did have a full salon with 4 artists, and then we have small staff. I don't have that anymore. I closed down the salon because it's no longer what I do. I don't really like salon business.
All right.
So I focus more on academy and merchandise. Merchandise is my main business, so I don't need staff anymore this large. And so I don't really have many people work for me directly, but I'm talking more taking care of people directly, like as my parents, as my sister. And this is my point, is that I just wanted to make sure that I can take care of myself and people that I love, my family, no matter if I have men in my life or I don't.
Right.
And so this is why it's tricky, because this is why I got emotional a little bit, because it's very interesting that I really try to have the balance, and I'm gonna give myself a little credit and be a little more forgiving, because I think I've done pretty well with the balance. I've spent a lot of time with my son while working, because also the amazing opportunity to do a lot of what I do from home. The type of business that I do is incredible in that sense, because you choose when you go into work physically, because a lot of those things are remote. And so this was great. But there's, and I think this is like a mom thing. There's always going to be, or maybe I'm wrong, maybe dad guilt too. A little guilt.
What?
Like a parent guilt.
About?
In some sense that you like should have spent more time with him. It's like you should have done more. But I think...
Well, I don't think I'm at that age, like that stage yet. You know what I mean? Like, I think like right now my kids are 4 and a newborn, so I feel like I'm doing a good job now. Now I will say, like, as you get busier, and my biggest thing is, what I try to do is just be very, very intentional with my time. So
exactly,
if I know I don't have meetings and stuff to do, then I'm spending time with my kids. Like, you know, it's like, because you don't know when those days are. So when you do have them, whether it's a Tuesday or Thursday, like, don't wait for the weekend to hang out with your kids. Like, you know what I mean? So if you have any opening to hang out with your kids, and my ritual too is I come to work at 5 a.m. and work out, sometimes train a couple of people, but then I always take my son to school, always. Because it's so, like, it's just such a beautiful, you know, 10 to 20 minute drive. You listen to music, you kind of have like little fun conversations, dance offs, and then you get that hug before they go in. And, you know, it's just, to me, that's, you can't get that back.
Yes.
So you should be very purposeful in those moments. And like seeing people having their nannies drop off their kids, like,
and
it's just weird. And I'm not like judging them.
That's what I had a lot of times.
But that's tough, like, you know.
And so as a woman, it's a bit different, because it's like, sometimes I know that she's feeding my son from a bottle, you know, when I could have done it, for example. This is the little times that I'm talking about. But I have to, and it took me time to learn this, but you do have to be a little bit more forgiving, because at the end of the day, we do so much, you know?
Yes, and everybody has, like, it's the totality. It's not incidences. It's like the you know, you're not done. Like, you've got this whole, you have at least...
It's a bigger picture.
At least 10 years. You
There's
know,
a
like,
bigger picture.
Yeah. So, you know, you could have a season where you don't get to spend as much time, but then you can always make that up, and you can always... So,
absolutely.
It's the totality of that relationship. And even going into adulthood, like, how I am with my parents now is completely different than how I was when I was under their roof, you know? And even, like, during those rebellion years, whatever you want to call it, you know? So just, it's so beautiful to see, like, and to your point earlier, like, we change so much as individuals. Like, we are not, I mean, I like to say I'm not even the person I was yesterday. You know, like, we're always evolving, we're learning, we're growing, we're experiencing different things. Your kids are changing you in different ways. People, these conversations, you walk away sometimes and you're like, I want to apply that to my life, or I want to not apply that to my life. You know, like, so everything is changing you, everything, your environment, the everything. So
absolutely. And so, the balance, of course, there can be balance, but again, it's with the little guilts and stuff like that, what we're feeling sometimes, if we feel it, you know, you do have to look at bigger picture, you know. So I did have this little, you know, wish I could be here more or done that more, but I look back and I have to give it all credit, because, you know, I couldn't have retired my mother at her 50s, for example, you know, or take care of my sister moving her country and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things I got to do because I have this business.
Right.
And so there's so much that I got to do in terms of helping people and just good things in my life that this business allowed me to do. So that's why I say, you know what? There is no wins without sacrifices.
Amen. When curating your products, you said today we hold classes. We are a certified academy and we have a pro shop. We're the only shop in all of Florida that carries the entire line of products for eyelash extensions. 118 products to be exact. Probably more now, or is it still 118?
It's about the same.
Yeah.
We actually just added 2 more, so you can bump it up.
You said you're the Disneyland of lash artists. I love that.
That's true.
Can you talk about the extensive journey of creating not just one product, but 118, and what the process looked like? So how did you even, like, where did the first
full-time job?
Yeah. Well, I know that, but
this full-time job, and
a lot of research.
And then. In my case, a lot of those things need to be tested. For example, if it's adhesive or something like that. So it needs testing, and it's multiple samples of each thing. And so it's fascinating to see. And I'm sure you get that too. I get that now with clothing companies as well. People really think sometimes you buy something and you just put your name on it, and it's so easy from there on, and it's the opposite.
Well, it's the same thing. Opposite. Oscar and I were just talking about of how people walk into my gyms, and they didn't see the year, and sometimes 2 years, what it took to get the thing even open. So
it's, first of all, is finding the product. Yeah. That is a mission that I have. So you found the product, then to maintain, because I don't know if it happens to you before. I mean, you have so many things that you make, but I would get.
We don't have 118 products, so that's.
But even with one, let's say you got something, you made a product, your mass order was great. Your second mass order is complete trash for whatever reason. So it's like things like that.
Well, apparel, that happens with me.
Yes.
So I'll give you a small example. We had a zipper sports bra that had a quote on the back. Ordered 250 units, like $16.75 a unit, not cheap, and they misspelled a word after I approved the correct, I didn't approve it, they just misspelled a word.
I had it in boxes, mailing boxes. They misspelled something. 2,000 boxes. Yeah. So what do you do? So it's like, to maintain the consistency and the quality of it. That is so much. And then this manufacturer stopped working. This one goes out of business. Now it's all over again. And so it's so much work, especially with products that I work with, that they might change, they go bad. So it's just so many factors to it.
Where is most of your products come from?
So I work with few countries, because each country is kind of like best for certain things. Okay. So for example, anything that is metal, like tweezers, scissors, Pakistan is top tier for those things. Now, anything that is acrylic, plastic, China, out of question. Anything that is adhesives or any products that are liquids, Korea, for the most part. One of my products, I actually made it custom in Italy, which is an eyelash wash. So we found a lab that does skincare, and I went through them because it's like organic farming, super clean products, and it's like, I love that idea, and I wanted to work with them. So that's like different country. So it depends on the product, but I work with different countries.
And do you ever travel to those countries to walk the factories? No?
And this is an incredible thing now, that you don't really have to be there in person.
Right.
Everything done through, mail. You ship things and the samples and stuff like that, and all this ways to pay and return and exchange. And so this is great to have. So we live in a world. I'm gonna say this here. We live in a world that, if you live in a place like this, like United States, I have to specify this because obviously if you are in different countries like Cuba, places that are very limiting, there's no opportunities, really, there's no resources. So I need to specify that. But if you live in a country like United States and you have all these opportunities and all these resources, limitless, if you don't make money here, you don't want to. It's because you don't want to.
Right.
And so you look at the times now when all you need is a phone with internet connection to make money. It is unbelievable to me how some people are still struggling financially. And of course, there is factors to that as well, like to everything else, mental health and all these things. But let's say you're fine here. There's no mental issues that you have going on, and you have social security number, so you're able to work, and you speak English, let's say. I didn't speak much English when I started, but you learn too, right? So if you have those three things, like you're mentally well, you able to work legally, and you speak the language, like I don't understand. I will never understand. I work since 13 years old.
Yeah.
I've been worried about money since I'm conscious. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have to go anywhere because this is crazy to have. The fact that you can make money this way is mind-blowing. Never in my life I imagine I could be doing this. This is crazy to me. It's such a gift. It's a gift. That's what makes it easy. You don't have to take yourself to China anymore to buy anything. It's amazing. Thank God.
And what so when you first started, how did you find those resources? Like was it like
Google?
You just searching and looking?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's so crazy because whatever you want to do, Google.
Right.
Google everything. There's a free school for you for everything. You can search for anything.
And YouTube now, you can learn anything.
Anything. Everything is at your disposal. If you don't know, you don't want to know.
Yep. You just don't have the... you haven't made the decision to learn. That's it. Like, because it's a choice. It's a choice.
Simple.
So I know the lash thing is like your main thing. As you started the new thing, the apparel stuff, a year and a half ago, how have you been able to manage both of them? Have you found that like it has kind of pulled you away from anything? Are you? I know the apparel thing you're kind of taking slow. So, but you know, like for me, you do have to kind of prioritize when you try to do multiple things. So how has that been, like adding this line?
So because most of what is time consuming with the clothing line is the content, is the photo shoots.
Right.
The photo shoots, the editing, this is the part that takes time. And what I do is it's actually pretty cool because of lash business, I travel quite a lot. So I travel maybe once or twice a month to different cool places. And so,
in the U.S. or the world?
The world.
Oh, wow.
And so what I do is...
For seminars?
Different things like master classes and conferences and stuff. And so it's been really, really cool because I would get additional suitcase with me with my BAGA stuff. And wherever I am, I'll make sure I have a day and I'll like shoot that as well. So this has been such a cool thing. It's like a tradition. Like if I go somewhere, there's another suitcase. So I do balance it this way. I always add it to my last trips. So now it's 2. And the good thing is I learned how to take pictures by myself. So I bought the camera, the lenses. I learned how to edit. So I learned all of that, how to do by myself. So when I have the time, when you said you got to be intentional with your time. So for example, I see there's a good weather outside, afternoon, there's no rain, it's dry, we're good to go, and I have 3 hours free. I'll take my equipment and I'll just go. And so I'll do the content and I'll edit, I'll take the time. So it's kind of like this way. You have to just pick the time when you have it and just roll with it, because otherwise it would be very challenging. If I had someone that shoots for me that I had to schedule and book and organize, that would be very, very hard to do. And it would be way more work and more planning. But because I do a lot of those things myself and I model for my own brand too. So this is where it's not essential anymore to have additional model or anything like that. So that's what makes it possible. If I wasn't my own model, if I didn't shoot for myself, I didn't already have those scheduled trips to go anyways for my main business, I think this is when it would be harder to do, much harder.
Right.
So that's what saves me now. So
And
I am able to do both.
That makes a lot of sense. And where do you make your clothes?
I make them in China and Miami. So
Okay.
it depends what. And so I work between the two. And in China, there's 3 different companies that make different things for me, because it's very interesting as you go into it. It's like one company would be very good like denim, but then they don't touch anything stretchy, for example. And so that's how it has to work. So it's still going to be a few companies that you're going to have to work. And essentially what I do is I make the master sample here in Miami. I have a designer I work with.
Okay.
And so then we will ship it over, do a sample, the size run, and production.
They do like the whole tech pack thing for you here, or they do it in China?
Exactly.
Yeah,
Here. And then
that makes it a lot easier.
And then she makes some things for me. We're actually right now doing a swimwear as
Okay.
well. We just started, so this is pretty cool. So for example, this entire thing I'm gonna make here, just because it's much trickier. So I'll do both for now and see what happens later.
Yeah. Apparel business is tough.
Yes,
It's a tough business.
but I love it.
But I love it too.
I love
it.
it.
It's my favorite thing to do. It's definitely not a priority right now. But
Yes.
eventually,
But it's for the soul.
yes.
It's
and
good for the
eventually
soul.
it will be a priority when I can make it and spend more time on it, because I love it.
We're
I love it.
definitely on the same page on
love
this
it.
one.
Yeah.
100%.
I love fashion. So it's fun. It's fun.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So we talked a little bit about this, but maybe you can shed some light. Like, how has it been? Because I know for me, it's been an advantage to do business in Miami. As a Miami businesswoman, boss, I'm just kidding. How has Miami helped you scale, and being in Miami, how has that helped you? Because I know it's helped me tremendously.
So that's interesting. I do believe that your general well-being affects how you function and how you do with the business and your creativity. And so I feel like being in Miami, and this is preference, of course, because some people enjoy snow and the cold and stuff like that, and they like seasons, and that's fun. But I'm the person, I like the sun, I like the palm trees, I like the water. I feel very happy and relaxed in places like Miami. So when I got here the first time, the biggest difference was in how you feel. Like for me, this was it. So it's such a place that you can be going so hard, working and just grinding and do what you gotta do, and you know, very like on top of your things. But then from 1 hour to another, you can decide you're on vacation now. So it's such a relaxing place if you decide to. So immediately you can disconnect so easily because it's Miami. And it's a lot of people think Miami is like partying and it's, everybody's snorting cocaine or whatever. It's not like that at all. It's really Miami. It's what you make it to be. I don't party at all. I go to sleep at 9:30. Okay. I drink like 2 glasses of wine a week. So
Yeah.
I'm not about that at all. I don't live in busy areas. I live in Doral. It's like a residential area. House is not even condos like I used to be here, but it can be very, very relaxing experience, the whole Miami living. And so you definitely can have it very, very much relaxed. And so for me, this is what affects me the most. So it's the warm and it's the sunny and it's lovely and it's vacation if you wanted to. And so this is definitely helps the creativity and how you function. For me, it's important.
And what about like the connections? Have you found Miami is a great place to network? And
You know what? This has been crazy.
Yeah.
This has been crazy as well because Miami is a place to be. I mean, I think right now, if I'm not mistaken, this is the biggest place, the most saturated for entrepreneurs in the whole country, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm sure you see this. I'm pretty sure everyone you know is like has a business or they have their own thing for the most part. It's an interesting place too. Sometimes you ask a person what they do for a living and they cannot give a straight answer. That's Miami too. But anyways, my point is because a lot of people bring the businesses here and people bring a lot of money to Miami, there is just absolutely insane people, insane connections that I've made here. And it's been absolutely crazy. Like I've met people, random businesses, multi-millionaires, billionaires with B. And it's a crazy mix. This is where it's so easy, I feel like, to meet very successful, very professional people, because in Miami, if you don't go to work, you don't have your own stuff going on, you won't survive here.
No.
You won't survive. Miami is not for the weak.
No.
And so it's been incredible that the surroundings that you can put yourself in Miami is unmatched, I feel like. And it's been exceptional. And not even for my business, like you asked as my business, but it did not affect my business at all, actually. However, it affected me personally. My best friend, that is a Biohacks owner, Dr. D, just things that I learned from this guy, right? And then people that he introduced me to, for example, and he keeps introducing me to this very strong, very successful people. It's things that you learn about businesses in general, about how they live their lives and what makes them so withstanding and so resilient and keep pushing. You're looking at these people because it takes such qualities, such character to build something so massive, multi-million-dollar business. And in Miami, it's a normal thing. It's like I always joke about this. Where else? It's not a joke, but it's a funny thing. Where else in this country will you see a Lamborghini Huracan in 12 different colors in one day?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Unless you're like somewhere else, like Dubai, yeah, okay. Yeah. But it's just
even
crazy.
I've been to Dubai and it's not even as crazy as here.
Miami is
Miami is crazy. Like the one thing that I always crack up at is because it is funny, is when you see the carpool lines.
Yes. Go in the parking lot of the gym, right?
Nothing but Range Rovers and
you have Lamborghini here, you're not special.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not special.
And when I was because I think you used to go to the warehouse, right? Like when I had the gym at the warehouse, that's where your son first went, right? Or
yes, no? But I haven't been. No.
Okay, well, no, it's gone now, so it's here now. But what I'm saying is even when we had a no AC warehouse, when you'd walk outside, it was Rolls Royces, Lamborghinis, Ferraris.
Miami's
it was wild. Yeah, it's definitely a movie for sure.
And so you definitely, because of these people that you get to rub shoulders with, I've learned so much, and I'm so thankful. This place is crazy.
Should I have Dr. D on the podcast?
Why not?
We should.
He's a smart guy.
He is very smart.
He's a very connected.
He's
very
a character.
Smart. He's a character. Yeah. He's one of the most interesting people that I've ever met. And it's so crazy because what he is, when you look at a person like that from outside, extremely successful, and you get to know him, it's like a whole different world. A man of God, exceptional father, exceptional husband. The loyalty on this guy to his friends, the loyalty to his patience, to his team, is just the qualities of the person. You really meet someone like this, like other people that we're talking about, and you get to know them a little bit, and you just say, no wonder you got this far in life. You're incredible. And that's what I got to learn from those exceptional performing people. And I really believe to be a high performer, you have to rub shoulders with high performers. We learn from each other.
Yep.
And this is why Miami is incredible. It's like I've been doing this thing too. When I meet someone that is a high value person, that they have something massive going on, the impressive person, and I don't know them even very well, I always ask them. I've been doing this for like maybe a year and a half, and it's been crazy for me. And I tell people to do it all the time now. After I speak to them a little bit, so it's more comfortable for me to say it. I ask, you know what, if you have any maybe events going on that you know of, masterclass, anything like that, would you please include me? Would you please invite me as well? Mm-hmm. I'll tag along. I would love to. And you know what? All of these people, what you would realize, they love people like them. They love action takers. It's like they get another fire in their eyes. They're like, absolutely. And most of the time, they'll pull out the phone and say, you know what? There is one in 2 weeks and so on. And they send you tickets, or they send you, let me have my assistant contact you. They should get you. It's like, it's so crazy. Right. And the ball keeps on rolling. And you bring yourself into more rooms with such people. It's been insanely great. It's a crazy thing. It's like, you can't even explain. You would sit in a room of people, they're worth billions of dollars. The set of those brains and how they function, and just to get to be there and to learn from these people. Literally, I want to go to places. I don't need to understand the real estate. I don't need to understand the finances. But I just want to sit there and just absorb. I need to hear these people talk. And so this has been the biggest impact on me as a business person, not necessarily as directly, affecting Lash Makers. Yeah. It has nothing to do with that. So to be better in business, whatever business that you're doing, it's all here. It's you. Right. You are the brand. You are the force. And so this is where the intention needs to go first, and development needs to go first. And so that little thing with talking to people and building relationships this way and putting yourself into more rooms with such people, I think this is life-changing. And I advise to everyone, at least try. You get no, so what?
Yeah, who cares?
So who cares?
Yeah, shoot your shot.
But asking you shall receive, right?
Yep.
How you going to get anything if you don't ask? Ask away. These people are incredible. They want to help also. Most of the time, they love the hungry, the go-getters. They love it.
When I get the DMs of like young people asking if they can, will you be my mentor? Will you, work out with me? Whatever. It's like I spent like a couple of hours with this one 24-year-old kid that wants to be, a trainer or whatever. And it's very rewarding to be able to mentor somebody, be able to pour into somebody. Cause I've spent 25 years, doing this. And so you want to give back. I mean, that's why you do it, cause what's the point of, you don't want to keep everything to yourself. Yes. So as you said earlier, and I know this just cause of my wife, like the lash business is like a big business, like yes. big business. So when it comes to exceptional lash work, you say it's all about the details, patience, and practice. What are these factors? Why are these factors so important? And how do you apply these key values to all your businesses, even in your daily life? So, because to me, like it sounds like lashes is a very like it's like an art almost, Yes. So, and I mean, we've all seen bad lashes. Yes. Like,
it's okay. Like, you can say that.
We have we're like, whoa. Yeah. So, explain first of all, like what it is to be exceptional at that and what that takes. And then secondly, how you've applied being exceptional at that. And you said it earlier, you want to be the best in the world, how that also translate to just being exceptional in all things, being exceptional mom, other things. So.
Well, first of all, when it comes to work, the exceptional lash work is I always emphasize on two things: the way it looks and the way it lasts. And so, as you said, you sometimes see there's some scary lashes out there. And my ideology was always to complement the face and not overtake. And so it has to be custom tailored to the face. It has to bring out the best features. And throughout entire career, my as the lash artist, career as a lash artist, when I was doing actual lashes, because I haven't done lashes in, to be fair, 7 years or so, but
you're teaching people how to do it, right?
Yes.
So, I
And
mean,
so my
you definitely
clients,
know.
exactly. So what my clientele was, it was always doctors, lawyers, nurses. It was wealthy housewives. So it was always women that needed to look subtle and presentable and classy. And so I keep pushing that style of what we do. And so that's number one. So
Yeah.
this is how you get to proper clientele as well. I don't want to say proper exactly like that, but more consistent clientele, ideal for what you're trying to do, because lash extensions is not the most affordable thing. And so if you want to be a successful lash business, your best bet is targeting more of a high-end clientele. And so this was number one thing. Now, someone that is willing to pay $300 for lashes, they're going to have very high demands. And so naturally, it has to be exceptional. It has to look very, very well. And another factor of it is how it lasts. So what you might not know, but sometimes you get lashes done. In a week, it falls off. Oh my God, my lashes fell off. So
How long is it supposed exceptional lashes, how long are they supposed to last?
I have a short explanation. I have a long one. I'll give it a short one.
All right.
So if you put the initial set on and you don't do anything, it will take about 6 weeks until the very last one finally falls off, because your lashes have a natural shedding cycle. They fall off and replace each other. Okay. That's the reason they don't grow like they had on your hair, except you. Looks good on you, by the way. And you don't put the ponytails and braids is because of the shedding cycle. So they're going to fall off little by little with your lash attached to it. So you can't wait six weeks because it's going to look funky when it's empty. Right. And so what we do is we hit the middle of the cycle to touch it up. So you would have to go about every 3 weeks to feel what fell. Yeah. So it's kind of like a maintenance type of business, which is the best thing for someone like me. When you do services, the fact that you really just need about 40 clients in total, because they're all going to come back in 3 weeks or so. Right. And these women stay with you for years. Mm-hmm. That's why it's a crazy business. Crazy business. And so these are two factors that helped to get to that exceptional clientele. Right. And so I do think, though, that it's kind of vice versa. What you said, how you apply those things to the rest of the business, I think it's actually backwards. When you come into whatever you do, and you know this, and you looking at it, let's say you have your gym, or I have my lash business or clothing, but it doesn't matter what you do, you want to do your absolute best. It's like you're looking at it and you say every single day, what else can I do for this? How else can I make it better? It's like you always feel that it can be better. Mm-hmm. It can be better. And that's how you function. You always find something else to do, to add, that it's you didn't think it can be, but it's better now. And so I don't like to call it perfectionism, because I don't think that's what it is. But it is high demands from yourself in whatever that is that you do. And that's why I say when I do lashes, I want it to look the absolute best possible, or the quality of wear. I'm going to go and learn about adhesives, prep, placement, everything that I need to learn to make sure that it lasts. Because if it won't, it's like hits right through the soul so hard and so painful, because that's not my intention. I want it to be the best. Right. The best in the world. And so you strive for those things. But that's your character. You do that everywhere else. And so when it became about, the Instagram happened in our big age, we had to learn Instagram, right?
Unfortunately,
you're like,
yes.
what is this?
Yes.
Why do I need to post pictures? And what do I say? So the Instagram happened, and you start learning about that. Now you say, I haven't taken picture my entire life or anything. So you have to go and you say, I'm going to go and learn how to do this like better than anyone else. And then you have to learn how to edit. You have to be consistent now posting. Now there's videos now on Instagram. And so there's a whole different animal. And so every single thing that was added to your business as you went, you looked at it the same way. You say, how can I make this the best possible? And I won't stop until there's no more to go. And so it's backwards. How you do anything is how you do everything.
Yep. Progress over perfection.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's like, you know, you have to constantly improve. So it's a constant state of improvement.
Yes.
You're seeking perfection, but that's not really the goal, because there's really no such thing. Because once you feel like you've made it or you've arrived, then it's really, that's your downfall, because you never really arrive. You know,
exactly.
Like it's kind of like a sports analogy is when you win the trophy doesn't come with you next year.
Yeah.
It's over. Like, you won it, but now you have to start over. So it's the same thing. There's no winning in life. There's no winning in business. You literally have to show up for yourself every single day. And what does that look like? Does that look like progress, improvement? Or are you, doing this all the time? So.
And I think for someone like you and me, there's no other way. It's like we have to have something else to improve, something else to do all the time, because that's literally the only thing that feeds us. And I feel like when I always say the day I have nothing else to do for lashes or for my other business, anything, like something that I can work on, I'm going to lay down and die.
Yeah.
And people like us, it's interesting because I heard this as a brilliant question. It was, what is it that successful people have that makes them successful and keeps them going that regular people don't have? And it's actually the opposite. What is it that successful people don't have? And that is a switch off button. We don't have that. But that's how you function. You function the best in chaos, because this is where you find the peace. Because you can come in and make things out of it.
Have you been listening to my phone lately?
I have not.
I just had a conversation. Someone asked me, how am I doing? And I said, I'm thriving in chaos.
That's amazing.
That's what I said.
I love that.
I was literally in the car, in my truck.
Let me
and
guess.
I was driving. And
I have a
said.
question for you, okay? You go on vacation.
No, not really. No.
Well, let's say
every now and then.
Let's say you go on vacation.
Oh, you're saying when I'm on vacation.
Yeah, let's say you have Mexico
yes,
trip,
and
4
I do
days.
take vacations.
How long? How many hours can you stay still? Let me guess. Tops 2 days? And then you go crazy off the rails?
If that.
Exactly.
Like we took the family to the Dominican Republic and 2.5 days I was ready to go.
You're ready to go.
Like, and it's not that I'm not enjoying myself. It's that I need something to do, to improve, to work on. And so when you're on vacation, you're not really working on anything. And then also too, when you've been doing this as long as I have, I'm 47, your body also is so used to, like, I actually feel worse if I don't wake up early. I feel worse if I sleep more. Like, it's weird. Everybody's, you got to have your sleep and all this. Like, well, I get that, but I actually have tried to sleep in and it doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. And then I certainly I think I've gotten better at least appreciating the journey a little bit more. I talked about that recently, and I've talked about that a lot recently, because before I didn't really, it was always the next thing, the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing. And there wasn't any moment of just like actually, looking around and saying, hey, I've actually accomplished some things, So
you have accomplished a whole lot.
I've gotten better at that. But when I tell this to people all the time, I talk to them about it, is that when you know what your vision is, your vision, not anybody else but your vision for your life and what you see and where you see it, and you've seen it. So that's the thing that's crazy about me, I've seen it already. Like I've seen it. So because I've seen it and I haven't arrived yet, then I'm not stopping. Like, and it's like, and I have this drive that I'm still going, and it's not material things. It's not, but it's a freedom. Some of it is material. I'll be honest, but it's more of a providing something that I believe I can. It's an impact on the world.
Absolutely.
Like a massively impact. Like I want No Days Off to be as big as Just Do It. Like, you know, like it for me, that has to happen. If it doesn't happen, I failed. If it doesn't happen, then I didn't accomplish what I know God put me on this earth for. You know what I mean? Like, yes. It's like, that's what you feel when you wake up every day. Like I tell people I wake up kind of in a panic, like a little bit. Like you kind of wake up like, what am I going to accomplish today? You know, like, and not a worry, not a anxiety, none of that. I don't ever worry. Like, honestly, never. And I don't really get anxiety, but I do kind of get like, panicky sometimes, like, you know, like, which is a different version, I guess. But
I think we all wake up the same way.
Yeah. So and then it's like, then you do like inventory checks a lot, meaning like inventory of who's around you. Is this person influencing me in the way I need, or are they not? And I'm at the stage now where it's like, if you're not influencing me the way I need, then, you know, you're not going to mess up what we're trying to accomplish here. And then vice versa of what you said, you should be seeking this.
Absolutely.
You should be seeking people that are either on your level or way further than 100%. You, so that you can gain more knowledge and then use that knowledge to then, you know, kind of climb that ladder of where you think you should be at the table or what have you.
Absolutely.
So, and it's really interesting for me too, is like, I've sat in a room with people that obviously have way more accomplishments than me, but I felt like I was supposed to be in the room. So I think that's important too. Like when you know you're supposed to be in the room, because then you can carry yourself in the way you need, and you can learn. Like if you walk in the room and you're around these people and you don't feel like you belong, then that could probably be a problem, you know, and you probably won't learn much. So
absolutely. And it's what you said too. It's so important. You said that if that person doesn't influence you in a good way, they gotta go. And this is so important as well, because we are talking about people that surround you and who you try to be around. Mm-hmm. And that is a huge one, because sometimes I talk about this so often, because I do try to encourage people to do exactly that. It's important who your friends are. It's important who you date, who you marry. People that around you are the people that will make you. And so a lot of times people tell me, but I don't know anyone wealthy and healthy and happy, because I always try to say, be around people that are wealthy and healthy and happy. And so sometimes it's, I don't know anyone like that. And so they stay with people that bad influence, that they're people with no goals in life, and they're pulling you down with them, and the negative influence. And so it's important to note that it doesn't work like this. When I meet someone that is good influence on me, or that is wealthy or beneficial for me, or can help me in life, while keeping the others, you have to get rid of the bad influence first. Mm-hmm. If that means you're going to be by yourself for a while, then that's what needs to happen, because it's interesting thing that someone that wants for themselves good surroundings, and they have very clear vision of people they're willing to be around, they don't want to hang out with someone that is a loser, whatever that might be in life, or in you know, just, and I say this word harshly, but the bad influence in any way. Mm. So I'll put it there. And so they don't want to hang out with people like that anyways.
Right.
And so you have to become the person that you would like to hang out with first. And so you got to ditch those people. Many times people struggle to do it. It's like dating. It's like dating a bad guy that is a cheetah and there's a liar and wait for a better one to come along and then I'll switch. It doesn't work like that. You have to ditch what is pulling you down that doesn't align with where you're going and what you want in life, and then work on yourself, become that person that you would like to hang out with. And so when the opportunity does come to get in a room with stronger people, better people, all of a sudden people want to be friends with you.
Right.
And that's the trick as well.
Yeah, I always tell people, you know, especially single people, become the best version of you first and foremost. Because if you're not becoming the better version of yourself, then when you do meet the person you should be with, you won't be ready. So when you actually meet the person you're supposed to be with, you need to be the best version of you at that moment. Because if you're not, then there's not going to be any chemistry there. Because you'll meet a person that's on your level most of the time.
Exactly. You always end up with someone that you're ready for.
Right. Exactly. That's
for
a great
better
way to say
or
it.
for
Yes.
the worse.
Right.
Absolutely.
You said earlier that people sometimes say, I don't know any wealthy people or whatever. Well, we live in a world now that and really we lived in a world back then too, is that you do know wealthy people. They've written books. Yes. They've put out podcasts. They've have their own YouTube channels. They have their Instagrams. They have Minek. They have all these. There's so many ways to align yourself with people that you're trying to,
absolutely,
you know, get on their level without being even in the same room. It's kind of like you said with your business, you don't even have to go to China. You can, you know, email. So there's just no excuses now to not level up. There's no excuses now. And I think what happens is that, you know, we hear it all the time, this whole mental health thing. And I get it. Some people, you know, do have serious issues, and I get that. And I'm not saying that, but I think that a lot of it is you're doing it to yourself. And I think that it's what you're feeding yourself. It's 100%. What you're reading, what you're listening to, who you're hanging out with. And I think that people think that temporary seasons last forever. And sometimes it's like, if you'll just understand that it's a temporary season, it's not forever. You know, this lonely time or whatever, that you're becoming better, that you're spending, you know, you're going to the gym, you're eating right, you're learning, you're educating yourself. This is a season. And then what's going to happen is you'll actually meet the people that are also doing the same thing. And then you step into a new season of community and people. So another thing I would say is there's plenty of places. And one of the places I think is an amazing community, obviously, is Legacy. Is that I just had this conversation with multiple people. And actually it happens every week. But I had a conversation with more than 4 women in the gym, and they all said of how incredible the community has been for them. And so you have to also get out of your comfort zone a little bit. And, you know, if you don't like group classes, go take a group class. If you don't like yoga, go take yoga. If you don't, you know what I mean? Like,
but even being here, even if you come to train, you know, it's like, it doesn't matter in what format, you're still around a lot of great people.
Exactly.
A lot of great
Like,
influence.
it doesn't matter. What I'm trying to say is just, sometimes it's those uncomfortable things that you just got to push yourself to do so that you can step out of your comfort zone and step into a new arena for yourself.
You got to put yourself out there in the proper settings for sure. And like you said, right now, you don't have to do it in person sometimes. You know, the power of social media is absolutely incredible. And you learn, again, for absolutely free. You follow these incredible minds on social media, Instagram, and you learn psychology. You learn about business. You learn all these different things through Instagram. Is incredible. And what you said is what you're feeding yourself is absolutely everything, especially nowadays when we have all these crazy things available to us. I mean, so easily accessible, bad things, not beneficial things. And you really have to be very, very conservative with what is it that you consume. I can tell you this, I mean, even myself, you know, my life changed when on Instagram, I found out about Bob Proctor, and I read a book.
About what?
Bob Proctor.
Bob Proctor?
Yes. And
who's that?
He has a book.
Okay.
He has multiple. And the book that I read that I found out on Instagram, it's called It's Not About the Money, and it changed my life. And so from there, it's like a whole new world opened up, because you find these brilliant people that you literally learn from every single day just from being on Instagram. And it's incredible. This is influence too. I can tell you, I meet someone, a boy or girl, and I look who they follow, and I can tell you everything about them.
Mm.
You can tell by a person what is it that they choose to consume, and you can already point out some traits that they have for sure. And so this is very important, is the consumption. You know, you just look at people, like what they like. You look at the following list you've done. You go and you see they follow motivational speakers, they follow business people, they follow authors, they follow people that feed their souls and their mind. And this is when social media is an absolute gift, in my opinion. This is incredible. You see them following, OnlyFans girls, bikini girls, stuff like that. Those are the people that keep dating bottle girls and whatnot. And it's no disrespect to anyone, but the consumptions,
yep.
It's what really, really is the number one thing, is you have to choose from that right there, social media, and then where is that you going? And speaking of gyms, let's throw shade. Why not? We're already here. Speaking of gyms, sometimes you would go to a gym, to a facility. There's always a community. There's always certain surroundings. And sometimes I've had in my life before scenarios where I said, I'm not coming back here, because whatever going on around you, the drama or things that you see you strongly disagree with and it just doesn't feel right, you gotta step away from that.
Right.
And so you change the gym. And so it's the places and it's the social media. And yes, like you said, it's not necessarily in person sometimes, which eventually it's going to be.
Yeah, it'll open the door to that. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I recently just made a decision to not follow anybody. And because then one of the main reasons,
wise man.
One of the main reasons was I wanted to maintain an authentic voice, because if I'm going to sit behind this microphone and be me and be the authentic version of me, then I don't want to be influenced by all these other podcasters and influencers and all these people. And I'm not saying they don't have something to offer. And I still watch certain things on like YouTube and things like that. But as far as just being fed stuff all day long. You can't help
but absorb.
Yeah. And then also too, it takes you down a lot of rabbit holes and, and then you find yourself scrolling and reading instead of like doing. And I have too much stuff to do to be on social media. So.
That's why I follow like 40 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, totally. Everything is a choice.
Yes. So let's end with this. Self-belief and walking in your power. What are the things you tell yourself and believe about yourself to walk in your power on your personal path?
Well, I had a little bit of a battle with that. The whole concept of believing in yourself and stuff like that. And it's very interesting that once you learn about where it's coming from, everything becomes so much easier. Because a lot of people question exactly that. How do I believe in myself? Self-confidence. How do I become more self-confident? Stuff like that. So interesting thing about this, confidence in yourself is the same thing as confidence in other people. And so the behavior pattern is the most important thing here, because, for instance, if I'm a woman and I meet a man, let's say, it's different dynamics, but just one of the examples. The man says something, but he does the opposite. The man says he's going to show up somewhere, he doesn't come. Or the man late all the time, or I catch him lying. And so all those different things, how will I feel about the man? Will I trust him? No. And so the opposite way as well. When you have someone, another person, that they show up when they said, they keep their word, they're honest, this is when you unintentionally, you trust them with your eyes closed at some point, because you say, what reason do I have not to? And so you have so much confidence in that person's action that you don't even think it can be any different because of how they behave with you. And it's the same exactly thing with yourself. And so when you say, this needs to be practiced 100%, because this is about discipline as well. But when you say, tomorrow I'm going to wake up at 7 in the morning, I'm going to go to the gym. Today I'm going to organize a podcast, I'm going to film it, even if I'm not ready. Tomorrow I'm going to do this much. Today I'm going to do this. I'm going to make some calls or emails, whatever needs to be done. And you actually did it. When you kind of watch yourself doing things that you said you're going to do, you learn about yourself that you can trust it. When you are loyal to yourself, when you are disciplined with yourself, when you keep promises to yourself, is when you start believing in yourself. You stop having doubts. This is where it's at. It's the same exactly thing when you're confident in yourself or somebody else, and it's always the patterns of behavior. So I always tell people, if you want to be more self-confident, you have to show yourself why. So make little goals, make little promises, and make sure small, so it's not overwhelming.
Right.
So you can do it for sure. And little by little, you show yourself that you can do it and you can trust yourself. You got you. And this has been exactly that. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. You are what you do, not what you say you're going to do.
All right, so say your final point to that, because I love it. Basically.
And so, yes, and so self-confidence is ultimately doing things that you promised you're going to do for yourself and actually completing them, going through with them, showing yourself over and over again that you can trust your own judgment and you got this. So it's definitely behavior patterns with yourself, showing yourself you can.
It's being loyal to your commitments.
Absolutely.
Another way to say it is you've chosen your choice. So that's how I like to say it, like choose your choice. So you've made a decision, you've made a choice to do or live a certain way. So do it.
Exactly.
Like it's not negotiable. Just do it. And then what that does is then that builds self-confidence and belief that you can keep doing it.
And I also think it's very interesting point here, because you know, we're talking about doing something, and it's like, if you have confidence in yourself to do it, you trust yourself or whatever, believe in yourself. My thing is, I say that to myself like 12 times a day. I say nothing is a big deal. And so every single issue, obstacle, it usually has multiple solutions. So in my head, I'm always like, you know what, if it's not going to work out and it's not going to come out the way I had it in my head, in my vision, just going to figure it out as we get there. You know what I'm saying? So there's always something else can be done. But definitely have to try. You won't know if you don't try.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you, Manny.
Yes.
Thank you so much. This has been lovely.
That's awesome.